studio engineers. As always, thank you for checking out my channel, the Home Recording Network, where I do my best to help out home studio engineers like yourself so that you can create professional quality music from your home. Today's video is just a little tip on getting industry standard mixes, but it's mostly about achieving a well-balanced mix. Now, when I say a well-balanced mix, I'm not talking about the level or volume of your tracks. That's the easy stuff, and it definitely comes with time. When I talk about a balanced mix, I'm talking about the balance across the frequency spectrum. Like, does your mix have the right amount of low end, mids, and highs? Now first, if this video helps you out, please remember to like and subscribe, because any support is super helpful to me as I grow my channel and allows me to keep making these videos. Now, the reason I decided to make this video is because someone recently asked me how I get such a tight low end in my mixes. And not only that, they asked me how they should be judging low end in their mixes. Now, this is a great question, and I'm gonna show you how I judge this, but it really makes sense that someone would wanna get this right. I mean, there is so much music out there on the radio and on streaming services. If our mixes and songs are not balanced properly, they're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. And our music is gonna continue to sound amateur, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid. So how do we actually steer clear of this and make sure our mixes are balanced to an industry standard level? Well, let's hop into one of my mixes and I'll show you exactly what you should be doing. All right, so we are in a recent mix I did. This was recorded and mixed in my home studio, and everything is just really well balanced. Listen to the, everything from the low end of the kick drum to the highs of the vocal and guitar. Everything is just really well placed.
These kings and queens, they all fall, headless back into
Now, obviously, there's a lot that goes into a mix like this and getting a song to sound this tight. And what I'm going to show you is more of a finishing step. But if you need more help on, specifics and techniques, that's what all my other videos are for. If you need to know how to, EQ a kick drum or work on a vocal, I got tons of videos on that stuff. I have my mix guide in the description that's super helpful. I hold a mix training that you can sign up for a couple days a week to learn how to do this stuff. And I also have a 14-day free trial of my membership, which goes really in depth into a lot of this stuff. So check out the description for that stuff. But let's get back to the balancing. So when I am mixing a song from start to finish, at first I am going based on instinct. So I make all my EQ moves and all that just based off what I think sounds good. So that's how the mix starts off. And when I get close to the end, that's when it's time to check the balance of the mix as a whole. You could get to the end of the mix, think it sounds awesome, but then you find out, your kick drum has way too much low end, or maybe it doesn't have enough. Maybe you find out the vocals are just too bright or something like that. That's the stuff we have to be concerned about, before we go to mastering or before we send this song to someone else to master. Now, if you're hoping that the mastering engineer is going to magically make your mix sound amazing and you're happy with sending him a product that isn't balanced properly, that is such a bad move because I hate to tell you guys, but the mastering process can only get your song maybe 5 to 10% better. Mastering engineers are pretty limited because they're working with the track as a whole, right? They can't go in and just change the vocal or just change the sound of the kick drum. They can touch up a mix, but they can't go in and affect these individual elements. So most of the work is really done in the mixing stage. The mix has to be on point for you to end up with a professional product. Now, the key to this industry standard balance might sound pretty simple, but it's really not. It does take some work. So, the key to this is intense referencing. Now, to do this, you really have to switch your mindset over to thinking like a mastering engineer at the end of the mix. So, what I will usually do once I'm happy with a mix is I will pull in about 3 to 4 references into my session. I'm usually picking music that is, pretty recently released and is the same style genre as the song I'm mixing. I will pull them into my project and then I'll just sort of level match them so they're, the same level of volume as my mix so that I can really tell the balance. And I will put them just side by side with my mix and judge the balance that way. So I have 2 references in here from some of my favorite bands. I'm not going to play those because I don't have the rights to the song. But what I also have up here is at the top, I have a song by the same band that's going to go on the same EP as this song that I'm mixing. So it's really important that I get these close so that the mastering engineer can do an even better job at getting the balance to sound right. So let's just play this and I'll occasionally solo this reference one and just listen to how close the balance is. Both the songs are about the same level of brightness. They both have about the same level of top end, and the low end is pretty similar. All the mid range is very close. So just take a listen to this.
It's a chemical, emotionless retreat. They all fall, they all fall. Words are poisonous to me. Oblivion, emotionless retreat.
Now, just from listening to that, these songs are very close. I think this mix is a tad bit brighter and has a tiny bit less low end than the reference. But again, they're very close. And of course, I did reference this with, like I said, popular music that's out there. And this mix fits in very well. Now, first, what I'll do after some intense referencing is, of course, judge what needs to be done, but judge if it's something that can be done on the mix as a whole or if it's something that I have to dig in on the individual tracks for. If my mix is just too bright overall, maybe I'll just come to the mix bus and at the end of the chain, throw on an EQ and shave off a little bit of the top end or something like that. If the kick drum isn't coming through enough on the low end, maybe I'll just go to the kick bus, throw an EQ on there, and boost a little low end on the kick itself. Again, if the vocals may be too bright, I'll go to the vocal track and make my moves on the actual track. This is just all depending on what your mix sounds like. No 2 mixes are alike, and there's no magical answer. You really have to use your ears, and this does take practice. But what I do in my head is sort of break all the individual elements up So when I'm referencing mixes, I'll just listen to the kick in my mix, and then I'll solo one of the references, listen to their kick drum. I'll do the same with vocals. I'll do the same with guitar and bass. And then I'll also just listen to the overall balance of the mix. And from there, just decide what needs to be tweaked. Now, obviously, this balance idea is very subjective. So it's all preference, right? If you like a ton of low end in your song, that's what you like. And that's what you should do. But if you compare it to other music that's out there and your low end is just, 10 dB louder than everything that's out there, that's again, it's going to stick out. It's going to be a problem. If your vocals are just super bright and you listen to your favorite artists and it sounds nothing like it, you might want to go in and change that. And I know this might sound like a very simple idea, but this is what the pros aren't showing you. Do you think the pros are just mixing a song and sending it off to mastering? No, they're doing a lot of referencing and judging their mix based off of other music that's out there. And again, getting their mixes close to industry standard balance. So I hope this helps you out and gets you achieving, a more balanced mix. And maybe next time I do this process on a mix, I'll actually do a real-time video so that you can see how I think and what my process is. But again, no two mixes are the same, so it's going to be different every time. But the key here is just intense referencing and tweaking. But if you have any additional questions or need any more help, just reach out, guys. I'm happy to help out. Hey guys, if you like this video, be sure to download your free Ultimate Home Studio Mix Guide with your go-to EQ and compression settings for all your tracks. And also be sure to register for my free online mix training that I hold a couple times a week so that you can learn how to make radio quality music from your home without breaking the bank.